It's the weekly show about rAVe with the It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hello, everyone. Happy
Hello.
Wednesday. It's the day before Independence Day. So most of our office is already out on vacation. But Gary and I, what are we going to do? Miss a Wednesday? Never.
We're not going to miss Wednesday. We rarely, I think we've only missed one Wednesday. I think we had some exhausted thing, and we did on Thursday instead of Wednesday or something like that.
Yes. Well, yes. And we did move to Thursday one day this year because of Juneteenth, because our office was in observance of that. But we still went live that week, so I don't count that. So, Gary, what's up? How are you? It's been a minute since I saw you last.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm out of the office, as you can tell, but I would not miss a Wednesday with you. And of course, as our viewers know, this is the industry's only live TV show that basically talks a little bit about everything going on in the industry and comes to you live every Wednesday at 9 a.m. on raypubs.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Twitter/X. We broadcast live, and we also restream this at noon. The reason why we do this at 9 a.m. is for our friends and followers in the EMEA and the UK. We want to make sure that they're able to see this live. They asked us to move it, so we do it live at 9 a.m. every morning. And our guest today, I'm super excited about our guest today, Alan Brawn, a Brawn consultant. He's going to talk about his recent column, which I love, which is all about how we need to pay attention to what's going on with AI and maybe some solutions for it. But he got up this morning. I don't know what time he must have gotten up. He had to have gotten up at least by 5:30 in the morning because in California, it's 6 a.m. right now, and he's our guest, and he's going to be on live in just a few minutes.
We owe him like a drink and or coffee for sticking it out with us this early. But yeah, so this is probably going to be like maybe a little bit of a shorter episode, but I wanted to hop right in because Gary, we've been so focused on like InfoComm coverage that I never really talked about my Teams tracker, my Microsoft Teams tracker from this past month. So this was for June. So every month I review last month's team updates. So this is the one for June. So I'm reviewing May's updates. I think they were saving a ton of them for June for InfoComm. So working on that one will probably be published by next week. But the big updates for May, they had some brand new Teams certified devices, a couple from MaxHub and a couple from Gary. I feel like I say this brand wrong. Is it Epos?
Epos, yep.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, great. Well, now there are also like a couple of other updates. Microsoft Teams now allows for some spontaneous Teams calls that you can start directly from a group chat. I'm surprised they didn't already have that, but I think that they might have taken that functionality from Slack because it's actually really easy to do that from Slack. So I think that might have been where they got the idea for that. Now, Microsoft Teams Premium users, you can get an intelligent recap for transcription-only meetings and an intelligent recap support for scheduled channel meetings. You can also control now who can record and transcribe meetings if it's something that's a little sensitive and you don't want it to get out, or, just one of those like extra security parameters. And then there are a couple of updates within Copilot as well, which is Microsoft's AI companion. So within Teams Mobile, you can now access Copilot during and after meetings. You previously couldn't do that from your phone. My favorite update from May was that presenters can now interact with background content when collaborative annotation is turned on. So presenters can like move slides and be like interacting with that while meeting viewers are annotating things as they happen. You previously weren't really able to do that. So also, last update, Microsoft is not going to sunset Teams live events in September as they had previously announced. They are actually going to continue that. They want to give people a little bit more time to move forward with the new thing, which is Microsoft Town Hall. But they're not really rolling out any updates for Teams Live events, obviously, but they are just letting people take their time moving over to Town Hall. So they're probably going to end that, I would say, beginning of 2025, but they haven't announced yet. So yeah, those
And
are
all
the
of that,
updates.
yeah, and all of that is available at ravepubs.com. Steph does a great job each month tracking all the changes to Microsoft Teams, since that is the dominant UC platform in our market that especially the integrators are supporting and selling and managing for clients. And you can always check that out by just going to ravepubs.com, and in the search area, just type in Microsoft.
Yeah.
Or just type in Teams. In the meantime, as you know, one of our awesome sponsors of rAVe TV is Shure, and they introduced a product that is going to be hot in higher education specifically, but I think it has a lot of other applications as well. It's called the Microflex Wireless Next 2, and it allows you to put in a wireless system into any room, even if you don't have a rack full of AV gear. Here's how it actually works.
The Microflex Wireless Next 2 is an all-in-one audio solution for meeting rooms, training rooms, and lecture halls. It makes it easy to configure audio for events that include both local and remote participants. It's really 4 components in one: a state-of-the-art wireless microphone system, a smart charging station, Intellimix digital signal processing, and a fully equipped audio interface. Despite its comprehensive feature set, MXW Next 2 is easy to set up in minutes with just one push of a button. Automatic frequency management finds open channels and avoids interference without interrupting the audio. Multiple interfaces make it simple to connect to a computer, sound system, and recording equipment. Onboard Intellimix DSP eliminates annoying distractions and delivers a pristine audio mix for both in-room and remote participants. Body pack, handheld, or boundary microphone transmitters run all day long and drop into charging bays so they're always ready to use. The MXW Next 2 all-in-one wireless system is the next step in audio for hybrid events.
All right, we are back, and I'm excited to be joined with Alan Brawn. Alan and I have known each other nearly 40 years, and he is a stalwart in our industry. He's an icon in our industry, has won a number of awards, pretty much every award you can win. But most importantly, I think in the last couple of decades, is he has been, he and his firm, Brawn Consulting, have been instrumental in really allowing our industry to understand digital signage and sort of how digital signage can be leveraged in our market. But Alan, I first want to say a big shout out and a thank you. If we can get Emily to go full screen with Alan, because I want everybody to see what's in the background there in Alan's office. So there you go. Alan just built one of those doll houses for my granddaughter, and I just wanted to say thank you, Alan, for doing that. That was the nicest thing.
Welcome.
It showed up. My daughter was blown away when she unpacked it. She was like, "This thing was professionally packed," because it was amazing what you guys did. You and Jonathan, I wanted to thank you personally for that. And
You're welcome.
it's a little hobby that you have that I doubt anybody knows about.
Well, no, it's actually not a little hobby. It's as you know, because you and I have known. I actually looked it up. You and I have known each other for 37 years, and you've been in the industry for 37 years. So let's be very accurate as how long. As I told Gary and Steph earlier, I actually had hair, and my hair was brown when I first met Gary. It's absolutely a true story. But no, I used to be big into woodworking. That was my hobby. I mean, people play golf and they bowl and they do all kinds of things. My hobby was always big time woodworking, and I had a big wood shop. Well, at 78, I can't do that anymore physically. And so I've turned my attention to doing woodworking, but I build heirloom quality doll houses, and I don't do it for money, and I don't do it for any other reason other than I do it for special people in the industry. Now for example, I built one for Olivia, for Gary's first grandbaby, to celebrate his contribution to the industry, but a very special moment in his life. So the catalyst for me to build a dollhouse for somebody is I've got to be passionately involved. I've got to want to do something to put a smile on a little girl's face. Well, in this case, we'll put a smile on a little girl's face, and Gary's daughter and Gary Kayye. So you deserve the accolades for all that you and rAVe do, and Steph and the whole team. You certainly deserve that. But my kind of contribution to your family is to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate a seminal moment in your life.
Well, like I said, I'm just blown away. I really appreciate it, and it was an honor. And my daughter was blown away because it was pink, which is her favorite color, and so I'm sure she's going to, she's getting ready to buy furniture for it and outfit it, and I'll send you some pictures that I promised. But I want to kind of turn our attention a little bit, because we just published an article a couple of weeks ago that you wrote for us that was algorithmics, the implications of AI and AV and digital signage cannot be ignored. Tell me what drove this column in your brain and kind of pushed it out.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one that I got up even earlier. The answer to your earlier question off stage was I got up at 4:00 to prepare for this today, and I wrote some notes. Steph and I were talking. Steph and Kayye, who's a wonderful technologist, by the way, a shout out to her. We were talking before, and we were talking about InfoComm, and I've been to 37 InfoComms. I missed a couple in 40 years because of family graduations and everything. We're talking about incrementalism and how you just got done with InfoComm, and how you guys covered all of these different events, but it's all incremental. It's little small improvements. I got to thinking this morning. I'm lying here in bed at like 3:45, and I know I'm probably sick, but I'm lying there in bed. I'm thinking about incremental improvements and the things that all the videos you guys do and all this kind of stuff, and it's really cool. It's really cool. And but when you and I first met, when frankly Steph was probably still in her stroller, when you and I first met, we would do trade shows, and there would be big improvements. I mean, we went from digital projection, and we went to larger and larger screens, and we went to all kinds of these wonderful, from analog to digital kind of things. But it's become very, very, very incremental. And I was thinking about, and I don't know why, but I was thinking about Neil Armstrong in back in 1969 when he did the first step on the moon. Because one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And I got to thinking about incrementalism, and I thought about AI, and I thought, this is one giant leap for mankind. This is not incrementalism. This isn't our friends at Shure bringing out a wonderful new wireless microphone. This isn't about our people in the display industry making it a little bigger, a little better, a little brighter. This isn't even AV over IP, man. This is existential. And so I thought, okay. And so I'm lying there, and then I don't know why this didn't come to me, Gary. I don't know why I didn't think about it. And it just hit me again, because, I'm a historical context kind of guy. And I got to think, well, where does this all start? Well, here's what got me going on this whole deal. 1968, right? Stanley Kubrick and good old Arthur Clarke brought out a movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? And actually, the book came out after the movie came out, which is kind of an interesting thing, right? And of course, for those of you who are too young or haven't ever looked at it, you need to go back and look at it for sure. It was all about technological advancement and its promise, and then the dangers of what can happen when a computer, in this case, HAL. And by the way, for those of you who are taking notes and you want to get your best bar bet, number one, ask somebody, what was 2001 about? No, it was about HAL, the computer. And then here's the real bar bet. Ask them what HAL stands for. The HAL stands for. And here's the key. It stands for heuristically programmed algorithmic computer. HAL. And for those who who are not linguists like we are, Gary, heuristics, and I looked up the definitions, it's mental shortcuts for solving problems in a quick way that delivers a result that is sufficient enough to be useful in given time constraints. And I thought, damn, this is artificial intelligence. And so, in answer to your question, it's the one topic I basically have. I basically have one passion now from a topic point of view, is is to think about things that are not just incremental. I don't write about incrementalism. I write about things that are existential and things like that. And there is no topic that reaches that level of existentialism. So that's the genesis of it all, Gary.
Well, I know Steph had a question with regard to regulation.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we lead to. So Alan, you and I were talking before we went live about how the industry is so excited about the promise of AI and what we can do with it that I think not that many people have considered, wait, we should maybe dial it back. Maybe we should regulate this. Maybe we should, it's really hard because like you said, even since I've been in the industry, there hasn't been anything that has shaken the foundation quite as much as AI
Thank
has.
you. Yes, shaking the foundation. Yes.
Yeah, that's my technical term. So where do we start when it comes to how do we even begin to regulate something that has shaken the foundation like this?
First of all, let's go back to MBA school time. I don't have an MBA, but I've taught MBA classes. And the famous phrase, if it can't be measured, it can't be managed, or you need to measure it in order to manage it in any variation on the theme. So the first thing you've got to do is understand it. As you and Gary know, I wrote a trilogy on AI. I started out by writing a trilogy. What did the founders think it was going to be, and what are the seminal dates? I cut through I read 200 articles and a number of webinars, and I culled it down into a short, for me, 2,000-word article on the history. And then what does it actually do, right? Separating the wheat from the chaff. And I talked about algorithms, and I talked about big data and all this. And then the third part of the trilogy was the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then I just wrote an article recently for Digital Signage Federation, as a matter of fact, which is what can humans do that AI can't do. So the first thing we have to do is we have to understand it. And we can't get ourselves so imbued in the upsides or the downsides. We're kind of like in camps. I don't know, Gary, Steph, it seems like we get into our camps. You're either it's an existential thing and Chicken Little and the sky is falling, or all of a sudden it's the next best thing since sliced bread, maybe better than sliced bread. So we've got to take a realistic view. Right. But one of the things that got to me was I started taking a look, as Gary knows, and maybe you know, Steph, I'm data oriented, and I got to looking at things, and I got to looking at the industry, and Pandora's box is open. I mean, Let's face it, there is no putting Pandora back in the box, ladies. It ain't going to happen. So why do I say that? Well, it's interesting. So I was looking at some financial data. Check this out. This is cool. So Bloomberg Financial and a number of markets and other people talk about the CAGR, the growth in the industry. And Bloomberg says it's going to grow over the next 10 years 45%. And markets says it's going to grow 37.5%. So even the most conservative estimates are over 30% growth year over year. Now check this out: the economy, the gross national product in the United States grows at between 2.5% and 3.5%. We're in the kind of the 3.5% range at this particular point. So check that out with 45, 35, 30% kind of growth. You think, okay, so this is serious stuff, right? And then you think about, okay, that's a nice data, but here's the one that really did it for me, and this was the one that really prompted the article without a trip down memory lane with 2001: A Space Odyssey. Here's one that tripped my trigger. You take a look at market capitalization for companies, and Gary, I never thought that you and I would live to see this, but it's absolutely the truth. So there is now a $1 trillion club. Alan's term, not the club is my term, but it's a $1 trillion market cap club. And it's headed up by NVIDIA, then Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Meta. And where NVIDIA is concerned, their actual growth last year was 147%.
Yeah.
This blows this old man's mind, right? Now, what's the common denominator of all these companies? The one common denominator, guess what, is AI. So whether we're talking about companies overseas, whether we're talking about Asia, whether we're talking about EMEA, whether we're talking about the UK, or we're talking about the European Union. It doesn't matter. Everybody's rushing to do business. It is trillions of dollars, not billions. It's trillions of dollars. So with that comes power. And what we know, and this is one that I know that Gary will remember, but the phrase always was that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely, right?
Yep.
And so I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm going, okay, we got to control it, we got to regulate it, we got to look at it. And so this brought to mind the thought of what are we doing? What is the government? What is the world? What are we doing other than just pablum, other than just happy talk? What are we doing? And that was really the whole topic of the article.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because there's the consumer AI stuff, right? Which is those big companies that you just mentioned. And then there's the AI in our industry. Should we, as an industry, just kind of hang out and wait and see what the consumer world does? Or are you saying that AVIXA as an organization, since they are industries association, should step in and start set some rules and some boundaries and some regulations? Or are you proposing what are you saying? What does Alan Brawn believe we should be doing in the short term?
Well, great question. Absolutely the best question. The answer is no, we shouldn't sit on the sidelines. Absolutely not. It doesn't do us any good to ignore the obvious. We don't want to bury our heads in the sand. I've got some clients and some friends in the industry that are actually beginning to use artificial intelligence, like in customer service. What artificial intelligence can do better than anything else is take huge amounts of data, right? And then by the creation of algorithms, we can use that to support our industry. So we should have, and far be it for me to tell AVIXA what they ought to do. I'm sure Dave Labuscus is not just hanging on Alan Brawn's word, waiting for my advice. But if I was the high poobah of AVIXA, I would start a group, a committee, if you will.
Yeah.
And I would start a committee on this is not Gary or Alan or Steph. We're the megaphone. The reason I wrote the article for rAVe, I wanted the most people eyeballs on this thing humanly possible. I'm not trying to placate you and Steph. Here's the God's honest truth. We need to take a look at this, and the industry needs to take a look, and we can't sit on the sidelines. Whether it's digital signage with generative AI and how that affects the creative community, or whether it's how it affects the operational community in Pro AV. No, we shouldn't just. We can take a look at the consumer side and go, that's interesting, but let's learn our lessons and let's apply it. But we ought to do something from an industry point of view. There ought to be an industry council of interested people who are not interested in ego aggrandizement and all of this, but are interested in, let's understand it, let's figure out how to use it, and let's figure out the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI.
I agree with you on that. And I think, because I don't know if it's good or bad yet. Right, I can see the bad side.
Well, you know it's good. No, wait. You know part of it's good. You know for a fact that 100%. Part of it's good, and you know for a fact that's part of it's bad. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why you know it's bad. You know it's bad because you don't know what real is. They talk about fake news and all this kind of stuff. You don't know what real is. I don't know. Steph doesn't know. Yeah. Carrie doesn't know. We don't know what the hell real is. I saw a webinar the other day, Gary. It was like a TED Talk thing. This guy was brilliant. I think I quoted him in the article. This guy was freaking brilliant. Yeah. I could have listened to him all day. And he was talking about, he showed examples of where AI was used in the film industry, in animation and other things. And he showed some pictures. And I spent 9 years in photography before I got into AV years ago. And then, of course, before that, I taught school. But the photographs that he was showing, I promise you, they were photorealistic, but not a part of it was real. So the bad is, it can be used for ill, weapons and things like that, or it can be used for fake news and promulgating information that's not real. But the good is, take a look at productivity. Take a look at all the medical things that it can help. Take a look at the fact that Steph, God bless her, is too busy for her own good sometimes. But imagine how this helps her do more with less, and the less meaning less time to do more. So look at the upside. So there's definite good, and anybody says there's not good, they're smoking funny cigarettes, but there's definite bad. And the bad is the proclivity of power, unfettered, uncontrolled, unregulated, can get us in places we don't want to be.
Well, Alan, our last question for you is, we're sure that people are going to want to chat with you about this because, one, you're fun to talk to, and two, this is something you know a lot about. So what is the best way for people to reach out and talk to you more?
Alan at brawnconsulting.com is my email. I love to talk about the topic. I plan, stay tuned to rAVe. I plan to write a couple of more articles. This is an ongoing situation.
Yeah.
This is not a one and done. This is, I like to say to people, Steph, I'm not impressed with what I know, but I'm extremely impressed with what I don't. And when I find out something I don't know, which I do every day, then I can't wait to write about it. In fact, Gary will send me an email every once in a while, and he'll say, Alan, this was a long article. And I'm going, yeah, because the topics I'm talking about necessitate. So anybody that wants to contact me, Alan at brawnconsulting.com. I'm lucky. My son, as Gary knows, my son basically runs Brawn Consulting. He is so much better than his father. It isn't even funny. So this gives me the time to write articles for rAVe, to do events like this, and I'm happy to help. So Alan at brawnconsulting.com, or stay tuned to rAVe because I've got more articles on AI coming. It's kind of become my niche because I'm passionate about it.
Love
and
that.
it's BRAWN consulting.com. So make sure you check out Brawn Consulting. Jonathan's awesome, as Alan said. And of course, Alan, you're awesome. We're going to have you on each time that you publish another article about AI to talk about it. I really appreciate you getting up so early this morning and doing this morning. And this has been awesome. And one of the companies that's actually using AI for good is Aver in their professional series PTZ cameras. So we have a video of those right now. All right, thank you very much. Alan was awesome. We're going to have him on, Steph, every time he publishes about this, because I think this is a big topic. And Dave Labuscus, if you're watching, which I know he does watch, Alan's got a great idea there, and that is form a strategic sort of like committee in the industry of people that don't have a vested interest in AI, I think is the way that Alan said it. Yeah. And let's talk about what we should and should not be doing, or sort of whether or not, what level of regulation we should be involved in.
Yeah.
I want to mention a story on our website that I think is really cool. Smart Technologies came out with a bunch of new products and software that encourage inclusion for neurodiverse kids. That's a big issue in K through 12, where this was not even identified for many, many years. And this actually affected one of my daughters. So I think it's really cool that they're addressing this in the K through 12 space with, Smart's always been in that space and sort of has owned that space with interactive products. We've got more information on that on our website, so you can check that out at ravepub.com.
Yeah. So another kind of big piece of news, something that really interested me was that the 8K Association announced that they are going to play a pretty big role at CEDIA Expo coming up in September. They're going to do a few like talks and things on the CEDIA Expo Smart Stage. This is really interesting to me because I never thought I would see the 8K Association want to play a big role in a show that is home focused. Of course, it's going to be co-located with Commercial Integrator Expo, which is that more commercial, like commercial, resi-mercial technology, which so there is a lot of 8K content out there, and there is a huge need for it in places like government, command and control. But I didn't think I would see the day, at least anytime soon, where that would be something that we'd start to need to see in like resi-mercial technology.
Well,
So
I'll tell you this, Steph. One thing I think could be driving this is this summer's Olympics are going to be actually captured and potentially, Alan would know more about this, broadcast in 8K. I don't know who could actually pick that up or how that would actually work, but I understand that the production center is 8K ready. Alan has had a big influence on Samsung over the years, and they're one of the few companies that actually has an 8K display. So it'd be a great question for you to ask him, Steph. But I'm interested in seeing what 8K sports looks like, because it must look like you're actually there. I mean, it must be.
I mean, like, yeah, that must be so sharp that it like hurts a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you can't pick it up. You can't, there's no media player you can get for your house yet that can broadcast live 8K. But ultimately, you know, the place that we tend to see things first is a place like that, like a CEDIA or show like that. So it makes sense. But it's a good question. I think you should ask Alan that question. In other news that's related, the Z-Wave Alliance released their application design for the ZRAD standard. So that doesn't mean they're going to actually build this, but it's basically a reference design for other people to build the ZRAD interface products, which work with the Z-Wave Alliance, which is a wireless compatibility standard that, you know, I actually have a number of. I just installed a gas monitor in my house, Steph, that monitors, like, you know, propane gas levels, and it's Z-Wave compliant and allows me to connect it into my Alexa system. So this is a product that this is a standard a lot of people kind of use and maybe not even know that they use. And by the way, I want to do a shout out to Middle Atlantic for their Middle Atlantic Cloud powered by Excite. Middle Atlantic is a sponsor of rAVe TV. They are one of the companies that has adopted the Excite cloud-based management system, which I love. There's a lot of other companies out there. It's interesting, Steph. There were probably a dozen companies at InfoComm that announced cloud-based management systems.
Yeah, more than that, I think.
Right. Well, most of them are using Excite, and most of them aren't saying they're using Excite. So they're pretending like it's their own system for whatever reason. But ultimately, you can tell it's Excite. And of course, Mid-Atlantic has adopted it for the RackLink system. And we actually have a short clip, I think, of Andrew Gross from Excite talking to Tim Trost over at Legrand AV. Don't we have that clip really quick to pop up here? Let's play that real quick. This is from InfoComm.
At Excite, we're here with the Legrand team, actually behind us, showcasing the RackLink Cloud. The RackLink Cloud was actually built on the Excite platform. Tim, why don't you tell everyone a little bit why you chose Excite?
Well, it was exciting, right? That goes without saying. But honestly, the Excite platform was one of the best platforms available in the market, and we chose it because of its scalability and the speed at which the Excite team could program the solution.
Yeah, and you know, for those that maybe not have heard of Excite before, just so everyone knows a little bit about what we do, is we provide out-of-the-box solutions for companies like Legrand to build an entire cloud-based monitoring and management solution without having to start from scratch. You don't have to write any code, you don't have to build anything, hire new teams. You have all these tools for you from our single platform. So Tim, you know, you guys have launched RackLink Cloud using the Excite system. What's next?
Well, we have our PDUs, and recently at the show we just announced our UPSs, which is an exciting addition to the portfolio. So now customers can manage their entire power ecosystem right on the RackLink Cloud with the Excite capabilities.
By the way, I love this new product that the Skies came out with. This is interesting, okay? Because you know, you and I have been talking about virtual production for a couple of years. Everyone knows that all the Disney Star Wars shows are all done on a virtual set, the volume set with, you know, surrounded by LEDs. So they basically Disguise partnered with me, Meptic, to build a virtual production studio in a box, which basically means that they've kitted everything together, which even includes the LEDs. So you can do, live. It's more for corporate live events, but also small production. So if you're making a television commercial and you only need you don't need a volume, but you need a flat display and you have the content for it that you can put on the Disguise server. It's an all-in-one. So it's a great sort of rental product. It's a good solution for rental companies and live events companies to buy and stock as an all-in-one solution. I think you'll see Ross do this. I think you'll see others do this.
I immediately thought of a corporate setting where, they need that CEO and that really, really good looking virtual set to deliver the latest news from the company, to look really, really professional on a meeting without a bunch of hullabaloo. I think I agree with you. We're going to see a lot more companies try to kit this type of solution in the future for corporate and other similar settings. But yeah,
agreed. And by the way, there's another way to do this, and that's through projection. And scalable display technologies now integrates with real motion media servers. That story is on our website as well. And so you can do this with projection. Of course, it's a whole different world when you do this with projection, and scalable sort of owns that segment of the market. I remember when that company first came out, I was blown away with what they were able to do and how simple it was for them to put that together. If you don't know who they are, check it out. Scalable Display Technologies. That story is on our website. And what do you think of this new Bogan IP-based paging system? It's great because it's aimed at the perfect market at the right time, and that is schools and security.
Yep.
Two things that are having to deal with.
And two things that are kind of the same, because we're looking for the Venn diagram's a circle kind of. Because a lot of schools are looking for better security solutions. We kind of live in a world where unfortunately we do need that right now. So this is the Nyquist E7000 version 9.0 and the Nyquist C4000 version 6.0 software. And these are advanced IP-based paging and intercom systems that use its software and some third-party integration to help safety, security, and education, but also some commercial applications as well. So they've got over 40 new features with some new hardware support and some more security improvements. So for the full list of all of those improvements, you can go to ravepubs.com. We've got the full story there.
And Steph, this event that we're doing on July 25th, we have a little clip of that, right?
So this is really exciting. We are doing an AV IRL, which is kind of a virtual case study. I don't really know how else to better describe it.
It's an in real life case IRL, in real life case study. So it's a deep dive.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is on Talking Stick Resort in Arizona. And the AV update in question is in the lobby of this resort. It's done by the OpenEye Global group, Brian Mazzaros over there. He's really, really cool. So we do have a video. So it's got no sound. So Garrett, we're going to stay over to the side of it, but you can kind of see what's done in this lobby for a few seconds. It's kind of this ceiling forced perspective. Really, really cool.
Yes, it's 3D imagery. And obviously it's an immersive experience thing. This is where digital signage is moving to. That's why I believe, it's another question I should ask Alan. I believe digital signage should be called experiential signage. But ultimately, I think that the idea behind us doing an IRL on this is on the 25th, if you attend, you can, you get to go behind the scenes as a deep dive on a case study, and they'll tell you exactly how they did it and why they did it. And it's a way to really understand the value of signage beyond rectangles, right? And that's going to be on July 25th at 2 p.m. Steph, how do they sign up for that?
So all I have to do is go to lavnch.com and go to upcoming events. It has a list of all the things you can sign up for, and you can sign up for that one. And again, it is on July 25th, 2 p.m. Eastern. And for attending, all attendees will receive one CTS or CTSD RU. So completely free.
Scan that QR code on the screen, sign up right now, go to launch.com, lavnch.com. You can register for that and all of our upcoming launch events, including launch week, whatever it is, 13?
10.
10, okay. Launch week 10. That's right, we had the game 13. Launch week 10, which is in October. But in the meantime, thanks for watching us. Thanks for watching rAVe TV. All of our episodes are available to you at ravepubs.com. Or sorry, at youtube.com/ravepubs. You can go back and watch any episode. We have an album of all the episodes. You can go all the way back to the first one 3 years ago. Again, thank you to Alan Brawn for joining us.
Yep.
And Steph, thanks for putting the lineup together today. And I will see you live again next Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thank you for watching, everybody. And for our American viewers, happy Independence Day. We'll see you guys next week.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.